their coach. Same thing with football. You'll come up here and the coach will brag about their kids for a little bit. And then when they're done, they'll have their awards with them. And they'll go over here to the far corner and we'll take a photograph of the group and we'll post that as sort of a montage on our website. So that'll be available sometime along the way tomorrow, same with the video that's being shot right now. So with that said, we're ready to get started. We'll start with West Plains Volleyball and Coach Haley Beasley. And did I hear consternation in the corner over here? The coach is Haley Beasley. The players are Mia Duggins and Lily Wiedemann.
With the A's, but okay. Okay, Mia Duggins and Lily Wiedemann are both sophomores. Mia played varsity at some capacity for us all season, and during the season, mid-season, our senior libero got hurt at a tournament and was out for a while, and Mia stepped into the libero role and just did an outstanding job for us. She is always poised and calm and does whatever we need her to do. Sometimes I'd have her change to a libero jersey in the middle of the match. And she always just does whatever we need to do, whatever we need her to do, and she never complains. Lily has played multiple roles for us. She's played outside, right side, middle, and even setter. She may think my idea or plan for her is crazy at times, but she never shows it. She always does what is asked of her and always wants to know what she can do better. Both of these girls are great teammates and team players. They always give all of their effort and show up every day ready to work hard. They're both great players and great students. Lily earned academic All-State last year, and they are both on track to receive it again this year. They both grew so much this year, and I'm excited to see all the things they accomplish the next 2 years.
That's the way we do volleyball first and football for each school. All right, now let's have Zizzer football coach Joel Wyatt. His players are Carter McCracken and Aiden Simpson.
We'll start with Aiden, my immediate left here. He was our quarterback. He had some big shoes to fill, as everybody knows that Dagan Kinslow, record setter, all-state guy, and everybody kind of, doubted. It's kind of an understatement, not only doubting myself as a coach coming in, but doubting Aiden and the shoes he had to fill coming in here to play quarterback for us. He filled those shoes and then some. He had an outstanding year. We've been playing football. Looking back with Coach Simpkins and going back to the records, we've been playing football here since 1925. And Aiden set the all-time single-season passing record that was held by Dagan, over 2,100 yards. Well, Aiden shattered that with 2,583 yards passing. So he had an outstanding year statistically, but even more than that, he was the leader of our offense. Just did a great job learning and adapting to the new system. A lot of changes from the previous years, just as far as getting under center, huddling, and he just did a great job leading us. He was the Southwest Missouri Football Coaches Association Offensive Player of the Year. He was second team in the Ozark Conference. He was first team all-conference punter, and then he ended up. We just had the All-State meeting Friday. He ended up being third-team All-State punter for us. So very well-rounded, did a lot of great things for us, and very well-deserving for him to be up here And I appreciate him so much. You know, you guys that are coaches, especially on the offensive side, you're kind of tied to your quarterback as an offensive play caller and your quarterback. And you have that extra strong relationship. And that's one of the reasons I think why we got hot towards the end of the year is him and I were on the same page. And he was easy to work with, a joy to coach. And the sad thing is I only got to coach him for 1 year. So we really had a lot of good times, a lot of good memories. So that's Aiden Simpson. And then Carter McCracken, he too, an all-state football player. He was great on both sides of the football. We started the year out, day before the jamboree. We're locked and loaded, ready to go to Camdenton, and then he's working on a vehicle and messes up his hand, so he's in a big old cast where he can't carry the football, and has to sit out the first game, and then the next 3 games he just got to play defense because he couldn't carry the football. We get him back into the mix, and just like I knew he would be great. I saw all summer. I was not surprised. He ended up being a unanimous Coaches Association running back, second team all-conference running back. He rushed for 775 yards, and really that was in 9 games because he missed those first 4. And then on the defensive side of the ball, he had 90 tackles. Ended up being again a first team all area linebacker, and then a second team all-state linebacker from the Coaches Association. So very well rounded. He's our best overall football player. He's a head knocker. He'll light you up. He's our downhill runner. He was just a special player on both sides of the ball. And again, I really disappointed I only got to coach both of these guys one year, because not only are they great players, they're great kids, and I think that's a credit to their upbringing and to their parents. There's no entitlement here. They just show up and go to work every day, and they're a joy to coach. So thank you guys.
Great stuff. Great season too, Scissors. How about that? Final 4, baby. It's good stuff. Next, we're staying in Howell County, and we're going to hear from volleyball coach Christina Collins as she will recognize Lily Bolander and Caitlin Brixey.
Okay, I have brought back Lily. This is her second year that I have brought her here. I chose Lily not just because of how she is on the team, but also her work ethic, her attitude, and her being a team player. Lily never complains about anything. We had weightlifting at 6 o'clock in the morning, and she was there every day that she could. If she didn't have something else going on, she was there. She was, always a team player. She never complained. I'd asked her a couple things just because it's a little different when you're out on the court, and then coaching, there's some things going on. So I had asked her a couple different things so we could make different adjustments, and she would just always say, "Coach, just whatever you think." And I'm like, "Lily, honey, you're not helping me any." So, she never said anything bad about anybody or put anything down. This year she got voted for our team MVP. So she also ended up playing 6 rotations all around with us. She did get hurt in our licking tournament. She was out. She had sprained her ankle really bad, and she went to a physical trainer, and had taken her bag, like she couldn't even walk on it. She had taken her bag hoping the physical trainer had released her, and she was mad because she couldn't, and she had to miss games, and then she got mad at me because I wouldn't put her in a couple times, and I mean, I just, you know, when you're that close to district, you would rather keep them and have her for districts instead of taking the chance and having her get hurt. So she is definitely one of those that will work through pain and wants to be out on the court. She she was the one with our most aces. She had 51 aces this year, which is quite a bit if you know anything about volleyball. Last year she was named first team all district. This year she was first team all district and second team SCA. So that is Lily Bolander. She is also, I forgot, she is also going to go on to play college. So she is going to Joplin Ozark Christian College to go play there. So she's my first one to send off to play volleyball at a college. Okay, the next one is Caitlin Brixey. She is our setter. She first started out as just back row just because, you know, her height doesn't help her out at getting up and blocking. So I had pulled her off when she went to the front row. You know, I did replace her with a 6-foot girl, so she kind of really couldn't compete with her on that. She had never complained one time with being pulled out, and I do know that she wanted to be in the game, which I understand, but you do what's best for your team. She also has a really good work ethic. She kind of has to, she has no option. So she's at the gym multiple times, all the time. Weightlifting, she missed one day this whole summer, and she was there every day. Like I said, 6 o'clock. We have to leave our house by 5 o'clock to get there. So, I mean, to me, that's a lot of dedication. A lot of girls didn't show up because they were tired or it was too early. She was our team leader on the court. She always tried to keep everybody up when things were going bad and stuff. She would talk to them, try to motivate them and keep them up. She, towards the end, we had quite a few people injured, so she ended up playing front row for us and finishing out all 6 rotations, which was okay. We didn't keep her in the setter spot. We moved her out to the outside hitter because that's normally where your other setter is, and they don't do a lot of hitting over there, so blocking wise she was fine, but she did end up finishing out all 6 rotations for us. She was second in assists on our team, and her work ethic and being a team player is also why I chose her. So that is Caitlin Brixey.
Well, again, you know, the flu bug's going around and a lot of stuff going on. Coach Travis Payne was not able to be here, and I didn't have time to gather any information, so I thought, you know, there's one person in this room that does know a little bit about these 2 young men, these Willow Springs Bear football players, Ryan Kohler and Gennady Dudko. And last year's coach, Joe White, is going to say a few words on behalf.
I didn't think I'd be talking about these 2 tonight, but I don't mind doing it all. You know, my 1 year back home last year, these were 2 of the guys that I really enjoyed coaching, and when I did leave, that I knew I was going to miss being a part of their senior year. Just by what I saw in that year's time being around them. Gennady Dudko, defensive end. I know he got some postseason honors. Again, to what extent I'm not sure, being thrown into the mix here last minute, but I know from when in my time being around Gennady, great weight room guy, great kid, fun to be around, great work ethic. He's a high motor guy, 1 speed, and it was a joy in my 1 year to coach him. And he's just one of these guys that, when you talk about being a 6-second player as a football coach, it's what you kind of strive to get across your team, and he is the epitome of that. And so that's Gennady Duko. And Ryan Kohler, I know he ended up being an all-conference player. And then the Coaches Association, I know he got on both sides of the ball, at receiver and defensive back. He put up some record-setting numbers. Talking to Shawana coming in the building, he broke a record that had set, well, going back to the year 1999 with Robert James in receptions. So he is the single season record holder in receptions, single season record holder in yardage as well. Am I leaving one out? Okay. So a lot of years being played football there, and Steve Airy could attest to a lot of the good teams that were there, and Ryan Kohler is a record setter there in a couple of categories. Just had I followed those two guys obviously, and Kohler put up some huge numbers, and it was just very appreciative of these two and watching them grow and have a great senior year individually. So let's give it up for these two.
Okay, of the 8 years we've done this is the worst year we've had for the flu hitting at just the wrong time. But luckily we've been able, at least in some cases, to have folks stand in. And Rachel Holthouse from Thayer, she's got it. And so she was able to have Jana Haven attend tonight in her place to talk about the Thayer Lady Bobcat players, Abigail Bowers and Danica Donahue.
Okay, so I wasn't really prepared for this. I got this message this morning saying that she was sick, and I hate that she had to miss it because Rachel's done a really good job with our program. This was the first winning season we've had in a long time. I don't, maybe forever, I'm not sure. But anyway, I hate that she had to miss it. I know she doesn't like speaking in public, neither do I, but bear with me. Danica, she is a junior. She is the captain of our team. She's our setter. She has probably the hardest job on our team, having to chase after all the balls and make the hitters look good. So she does a really good job. She always has a good attitude. She's always willing to practice. She's probably in the gym more than anybody practicing. She got all district honorable mention this year and all SCA second team this year. And she's just a joy to be around, and I look forward to next year. We had a young group, and we're getting everybody back except one senior this year, so I'm really looking forward to what they'll do next year. Then we have Abby Bowers. She's only a sophomore, but she's made herself known. She's an amazing hitter. She's had the most kills this season. She can do anything you ask her to do, and she gives it 100%. She was at Houston, she got all tournament team. She got honorable mention in all district, and she got first team in the SCA. Like I said, they both come and put forth all their effort. They make it fun to play and to watch, and I really am excited for next year. And hopefully we'll have Rachel here next year for you guys. Thank you.
I'd say public speaking is one of the most common fears that people have. It's really hard for some. And I can appreciate people who get up here in spite of that fact and do it, and I thought that Coach Haven did a really good job. All right, Thayer football. Coach Briar Hancock, whose players are Peyton Mills and Weston Rogers.
All right. So obviously a lot of firsts for not only these guys with me being a first-year coach, but for the program, for the town of Thayer. You know, it was a blessing to coach these two as an assistant. I was their position coach my first year. And I can tell you one thing, these guys just have a nonstop motor. You know, they play the game the way it was meant to be played. And that's something to be appreciative about. Both of these guys played a huge part in our success this year and in the years prior. You know, they had 3 district championships, 2 state semifinal appearances, and 3 10-plus win seasons. You know, we weren't as successful this year, but you know, these guys didn't make any excuses for it. They came to work every Sunday in film. They were there, ready to get better. They pushed everybody in the weight room to get better, in the practice field or on the game field. You know, and as a head coach, being a first-year guy, you know, these two guys, these two kids were somebody who I really leaned on as far as being that coach out on the field. You know, we'll get to accolades in a minute, but you know, both these guys chose to be in the Marine Corps, and as you know, as a coach, yeah. And you know, as a coach, I think that you know, seeing those young men be transitioned from boys when you first get them into growing into those young men of high character. You know, that's what matters the most. Individual awards. So Peyton, who's standing next to me, he was a first-team all-conference linebacker, first-team unanimous all-region linebacker, second-team all-region running back, honorable mention punter. I know he likes that award. And he was also Missouri Coach Association all-district. Weston, he was honorable mention all-conference defensive line, and honorable mention all-conference defensive line, all-region defensive line. So again, these two guys did a great job for me, and I know they did a great job for Billy. Yeah, and you know, I couldn't be more excited for these guys and watching them grow and seeing what the future holds for them. So, thank you.
Now we're going to Salem, Arkansas, with volleyball. Coach Leanna Smith and her players, Olivia Dawkins and Kaylee Hall.
Definitely not a public speaker, so I give a shout out to all the coaches for getting up here and speaking for their kids. Got Dawkins up here. She is our libero. She's a junior this year. And Callie Hall, she's a sophomore. This year she played our middle hitter, middle blocker. Both of them are leaders. More than anything, they're silent leaders. They're going to lead by example. They're there. They show up at practices, and they put in the work. Okay. And so it's, Callie led us. She had a 210 kill rate, 34 solo blocks. And this is really astounding because she can't even walk across the court without breaking her ankles. So having that high of a number was amazing to us. So thankfully she come out onto the court and she was a whole different person. She was a force at the net, and we're really glad we had her, and there's defense behind her whenever we was doing it. Dawkins, big thing on her, she was on libero. She had elbow pads. She didn't wear them, And almost after every game, her elbows are black and blue the entire time. But she had 712 digs with only an 8% error rate. And most of those were spent on the floor. But the big thing is she had a 96% serving rate, and that's really a really good number. Dawkins she was all conference within our conference. She was also all-state honorable mention. The big deal is their work ethic. That's why I'm recognizing them today. 4.0. They're also within the clubs within our school and everything else. And so they're not just leaders on the court, but they're leading by example in the classroom as well. So I'm really proud of them.
Salem Greyhound football. I got to visit with Coach Watson. You know, every year I like to get with the coaches. I put them on the radio and kind of get their opinion, how they think, you know, their summer went and how the season looks, the outlook. And then, of course, there's that conversation we have off air where it's like, all right, how do you think you're really going to be? And Coach Watson, he told me right up front, he said, you know, I think we're going to be pretty good. So I got a good group of young men, and I brought Billy Weber just down the road to come and help out. So they had a great season. So here is Coach Watson with his two recipients, Damon Jennings and Dalton Stewart.
All right, these two guys I got up here with me, you know, they're just great examples of leaders, just like everybody else in this room. They're two guys, both seniors, that I've had all the way from 7th grade, my first year at Salem, my first year back at Salem, all the way till now, and they've stuck it out, they've dealt with me, which can be hard to do. But, you know, they've done everything I've asked them to do all the way through summer, in season, in the locker room. They're the guys that everybody sort of looks to, and they keep everything running smooth. These guys, 9th through 12th grade, they have never missed the playoffs. They made it to the semifinals one time, and this year was our first time they ever make it past the first round in 3A football since we've been bumped up to 3A. They had the best season Salem High School's ever had as a 3A school this year, and these two guys were pivotal to our success this year in going 8-4 and making it to the second round state playoffs. I'll start with Damien. Damien is a offensive lineman and nose guard for us. You know, defensively, Damien, we played him, you know, some on defense, tried to give him a little bit of break on defense. But he did a great job for us at nose guard, manning up both A gaps for us, and allowing the guys behind him to go and make tackles. His statistics defensively don't just jump off the wall, but he did his job and allowed the linebackers to get freely to the ball. On offense, though, he graded out consistently as our top offensive lineman, and he's done that for 4 years. He started for us as a freshman when he moved up from 9th grade junior high football, and he started all 4 years on the offensive line for us. And he is a 2-3A all-conference player in the state of Arkansas this year, so that's a big deal for Damien Jennings. Dalton Stewart is a guy that has always played receiver and defensive back for us. He's done whatever we've asked him to do. And playing receiver at Salem High School can be frustrating because we're not going to throw the football very much. We're going to run the football, especially now that Coach Weber's down there. We really run the football. So it can be frustrating. Like I said, statistically, he had 5 touchdowns. He only had 12 receptions, but 5 of them were touchdowns. So he was a big play guy for us. He had 313 receiving yards this year. Defensively at corner, he had 8 interceptions and 47 tackles. So he led us in interceptions this year, did a great job. Most teams we play, they knew he was a guy in the passing game they had to shut down, and he was our best corner on the defensive side of the ball. You know, both these guys blocking did a great job for us. You know, you don't typically hear a receiver, you know, but he took a lot of pride in how well he blocked out there on the perimeter, and he did a great job. And part of the reason we had success running the football was because we had receivers that were willing to block, and
They helped lead the way to 3,300 yards rushing, a little over 3,300 yards rushing on the season. So give a round of applause to these two guys. Thank you, guys.
Okay, next up, the Mountain Home Bombers, and I've said every year, and I'm gonna say it again, just so my streak stays alive. They've got the coolest nickname I think there is around. Ever since I was in high school, I thought, man, why couldn't we be the Bombers? But we weren't, we were Bears. Right now, we want to introduce, I want to make sure, Jill Daves, the volleyball coach from Mountain Home, said she couldn't be here tonight. Just want to make sure her players, are her players here? I was told they probably weren't going to, but just want to be double sure. Don't want to leave them out. Okay, well, I want to mention who their players were. Their players this year were Carson Schmitz and Kate Jackson. And I think Kate was one of her players last year, if I remember correctly. But anyway, we want, even if they're not here, they're still going to get their plaques. We'll get those to them. Now, on the football side of things, we wanted to welcome head coach Steve Airy and Dylan Drury and Daniel Jones.
Five, let's put you over here. Long hair over here. If I had long hair, I'd be just like yours, Daniel. I used to have it. I still have it if I had it. It's my third season of Mountain Home, and the one thing that I want to talk about starting off is just these guys have been with me all 3 years. Watched a lot of guys come and go. Workload is pretty tough. It's a tough place. And you got to have those guys. Some of you guys may call them a bell cow, or you hang your hat on these guys. And these are two of our guys. Not necessarily you're going to light it up on the stats or whatever, but they light it up everywhere else. They light it up on the field. They light it up in the locker room. They light it up in the weight room. So these guys are pound for pound, two of our strongest guys on the team. Daniel's a 1,000-pound guy on 3 lifts. He was the only one we had last year. I'm just proud of what they've done. If you don't know anything about Mountain Home football, they have won 11 games in 10 years. And we're still not lighting it up that way, but to just give you guys a little bit of praise, they've been in the state playoffs the last 3 years. Been quarterfinalists 3 years in a row, been in the top 8 3 years in a row, and we just got to make our way to the top. But they've had a great career. I'm going to start with Dylan. Dylan's been a two-way player for us for 3 years. He's a wide receiver, defensive back. This year he had 10 catches, 104 yards, 140 yards, and a touchdown. He had 42 tackles, 2 picks, one which was a pick six, a big pick six in a playoff game with Marion. He had 12 pass breakups. He's our return guy on the kickoff return. He's our return guy on the punt return. And Dylan, I'm going to say something I don't think's ever happened to me in 35 years coaching. I don't think we had a punt hit the ground all year. And coaches, all you coaches can appreciate that, not letting the ball roll around. He got his hand up, he fair caught it, returned everything that was punted at him. He's a grinder. I'm glad I got to brag on you a little bit because, like I said, some of these guys don't get the accolades and stuff they get in all state and all conference honors. But this guy, he deserves everything he gets. He kind of put us on the map a little bit. He got his first offer last week from Lyon College. I think he'd probably rather go play baseball, but congratulations on that. And really proud of Dylan for number 5. Daniel, we always, as a coach, we appreciate the guys that put the team before me. And he played tight end all his life. And we said, hey, Dirty Dan, you gotta switch jerseys this year and put your hand in the dirt. So he goes from number 13 to number 73. He didn't bat an eye, didn't whine, didn't gripe. I had to put on some weight, and he's not overly sized for an offensive guard, but he did everything that was asked of him. He had 51 pancakes on the season. He's got a 31 ACT. I think he's going to be going to Harding University. He's going to be a tremendous leader and a tremendous man. But it's so good to have smart players. These out-of-town guys, the strongest guy on our football team, and that doesn't just happen. You work for that title. He wore every single one of them out. Daniel Jones. Double H, I'm one of those guys that hates to speak.
Yeah. Oh, very well. All right, thank you a bunch right there. And again, you know, we want to give a big shout out, thank you to Taylor Gruball in West Plains, stepping up, your Chevy Buick GMC dealer, also your State Farm agent Justin Shelby, along with TLG Peterbilt in Willow Springs. We really appreciate them. Also along with all the table sponsors from each town. We really thank you. Shifting gears, we're going to Mountain Grove. And Coach Ashley Martin is going to share some information about Reagan Horning and Josie McPherson.
Yes, we've got Reagan Horning here, our only senior, and we've got junior Josie McPherson. This year was my third year as the Mount Grove volleyball coach, and they've been with me all 3 years. I'm going to start with Josie McPherson over here. She took on a new role for us this year. She was our setter, our main setter. We started out in 6-2, and that did not work out very nicely. So we quickly switched to a 5-1. If you don't know anything about a 5-1, that means that she's our all-time, she's our quarterback for football nerds out there. She touches she's in charge of our offense, and she is directly looking at me for every play of who to set, what to do, where to put people. And so we talk about a special relationship that's always between, you know, the setter and the coach. And couldn't have asked for a better setter this year. She if you need to know one thing about her, she finished out the season the last 4 weeks with 3 stress fractures in her foot. So if that doesn't tell you the competitor that she is, I don't know what will. But she finished the season with 911 assists. She was just shy, which if you know stats, that is huge. But she did have 2 huge attackers to give that ball to get those numbers up there. So 911 assists in one season is insanely impressive. Very excited that I get one more year with her next year. She's a track star. She has taken some time off of basketball right now due to her stress fractures, but she's going to do some big things in track at state in the spring. I'm positive of that. So that's Josie McPherson. Next, I have Reagan Horning. If you're local, you know the name. Reagan has been an outside hitter for me the last couple of years. When I first got here, she was part-time setter, and I quickly saw the power that she had in her swing, and wanted to take full advantage of that. So we moved her on the outside, and we couldn't ask for a harder worker. She works hard in everything she does. In the classroom, she's a perfectionist. Both of these girls academic All-State last year. I'm sure they will be that this year. Comes out in January. I didn't even list your honors, did I, Joe? Yes, your honors. As far as end of the season, we were able to finish by winning our district this year. Class 3 was not an easy district. First time in 10 years, so we got to put a new banner on the wall. And then we advanced to the first state sectionals. So after that, Josie was, you were second team all conference, and you were second team all district. And Reagan here, she was first team all district, first team all conference, and all state. She just got back yesterday from her all state banquet and senior game, and so that's awesome. She is going to continue her volleyball career at SBU, and she is also pre-med, if that tells you how diligent she is in the classroom. So we are very, very stoked to see all that she does as a Bearcat, but that's the girl.
Panther football. Head coach Brandon Rogers will talk with Holland Glenn, and Tyson Ellis got to be like 25. I mean, yeah, 7 years of varsity. Super kid, super young man, and a great football player.
Thanks, Gary. Well, I'd like to start with talking about Tyson Elliott, number 5 right here. Both of these guys have over 30 career starts. So they start every game from their sophomore year. Holland actually started as a freshman. But together, they've been a great couple kids to coach. I mean, it made every day a joy to be around. They're coaches on the field, and they've done some great things at Mountain Grove, and I'd like to mention some of those things. Tyson's 3-time academic All-State. He got voted Friday as an All-State athlete, 3rd team. He threw for 2,300 yards this year, 27 touchdowns, rushed for 10. In his career, he finished with 6,100 yards passing, 6,181, and 73 touchdowns. The passing record, he broke Casey White, and the passing yards record for career, he broke Jared Emery. And if anybody knows Mountain Grove football, they know who Jared Emery and Casey White is. He set the school record twice for single season. He became the first player in school history to surpass 2,000 yards in a single season. And he just passed Jalen Ackland for 3rd in the SCA all-time passing. I'm gonna miss having that quarterback, and he's been my quarterback the last 3 years. I feel like he knows what I'm gonna call half the time. He's a coach out there, and man, I gotta start teaching another one already. I'm not looking forward to that because he's been such a joy to coach. That's Tyson Elliott. Holland Glenn, number 21. Like I said, he started as a freshman, so I think he got about 2 snaps of JV football his freshman year. Kind of tweaked his ankle, and I said, that's it, no more. So he never had JV. He's an all-state DB. He was voted 2nd team. These guys are both first-team all-conference players and have been for 3 years. It's his 3rd straight year with over 1,000 yards rushing and receiving. He finished his receiving yards was 1,978, which is the most in Mountain Grove history. He also got the touchdown record for a receiver with 26, and that was passing Austin Steagall, which was a great Mountain Grove player. He also finished in the top 5 in school history with total touchdowns, and he also passed Clint Harper at Willow Springs for number 3 all-time in SCA. Holland, sometimes I called him Coach Holland, because he'd come to the sideline and say, Coach, we got to run this, we got to do this. And most of the time I don't listen to 99% of my players, but these 2 guys I did listen to. And Holland called several plays. He'd be like, Coach, this play's open, you need to look at me. And they're team guys, they're Iron Panthers for the last 4 years. their freshman year, we had an Ophir season. So we went from Ophir to 3 straight district titles. Just very, very proud of these guys. I'm going to miss them. I love them, and I wish I had 2 more just like them. Paul and Lynn.
Up next, it is Liberty, Fountain Birch Street, and Coach Toon, she loves this event. She's been here every year, but she got down with the flu, sent me a text this morning, and she's like, "Hey, I am so sorry, but there is no way I can make it." So she sent me some information as we will recognize for Coach Sherry Toon, Lila Kornman and Kenzie Daniels. Co-captain, senior, Lila Kornman, has been a 3-year varsity starting setter. During her 3 years, she's been so consistent in all aspects of volleyball. She is a true beast on and off the court. She always gives her utmost respect. She is the strongest athlete Coach Toon says she has ever coached and works like no other. She turned into the leader on the court this year, and it was just awesome to witness. She reached a career high of almost 1,400 assists and will go down in the Liberty record book for her fantastic ace serving ability as well. It's been a pleasure to coach you, Coach Toon says, and she will miss you on and off the court, and she is so excited to see you dominate at anything that gets in your way of life. Senior Kenzie Daniels is the other team captain. Kenzie also has been a varsity starter since her sophomore year. Kenzie is absolutely the most improved player in all of Coach Toon's 16 years of coaching. She took it on herself to become a top-notch Liberty volleyball player. She led the Lady Liberty Eagles in digs this season after never playing back row in her career. She's a very consistent server and the glue to this year's team. She was the best leader on and off the court. Every member of the team respects her, and she influences everyone to want to work harder. Kenzie's a go-getter, no excuses, let's just work harder. And seeing her step outside of her comfort zone and push herself has been a highlight in Coach Toon's career. Just watching that, witnessing the grit, the true courage and the demand of her teammates to work harder will be something that Coach Toon forever cherishes. It's been an honor to coach these two and watch them develop. Their toughness, their grit will pave the way for future endeavors in life. Again, that blue bug's going around. It's knocked a lot of folks out, but Coach Toon is, I know she would like to be here, but she just can't do it. Liberty football, Coach Brock Carnegie, he has brought along Cal Ackland and Drew Ripko.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out, and I'd like to applaud all you athletes for all you've done for your programs. I'd like to thank parents, because as a parent, I understand the sacrifices that you have made for your son or daughter to excel in what they love to do. So, give me a applause. me for the last 3 years. I've been at Liberty for 28 years, for a long time. I was coached by Coach Eric. These three guys here are special, and they've done a lot of great things at Liberty. They're both all conference, all district, and all state players for Liberty, and they're very well deserved. Cal Ackland had a great story about him. So Cal's a 4-year starter for me, and he plays outside linebacker for me. His freshman year, I think he were about 130 pounds on a good day. He came back after his freshman year, and I told him, I said, Cal, I said, I don't think there's any way I can leave you at linebacker because you're just getting the tar beat out of you every game because you're a little bit light in the pants. And so he was thoroughly upset. And so in that off season, what was your how much milk did you drink? Half a gallon of whole milk a day. So he comes back his sophomore year and he gained 25 pounds. 25 pounds of muscle. And this year he weighed in at 195? 195. He's got almost as fat as me. Give him the best. But it kind of shows his work ethic and his character. You know, he wanted to do the best that he could possibly do. And, you know, in the last 3 years, we've been blessed. And we've won the district the last 2 out of 3 years and win all 3 years. And these guys are a big part of it. Drew Ridco was SCA Player of the Year. You know, he had, well, let's see, how many touchdowns did he have? A lot. Let's see, Drew Ridco had 12 rushing touchdowns and 11 receiving touchdowns. He had 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns and 2 punt returns for touchdowns. He was also our kicker. He was also our free safety. You know, had 60 tackles on defense. At Liberty, these guys epitomize what small school football should be like. They play both sides of the ball, and they give everything that they have every Friday night. And I was blessed to get coached in for the last 3 years. Thank you.
Like Gary said just a moment ago, we thank Taylor Brubaugh, Chevrolet Buick GMC, being one of our platinum sponsors, along with State Farm agent Justin Shelby and bronze sponsor TLG Peterbilt. Now let's move on to Houston High School. Volleyball coach is Lauren Richardson. Her players are Mackenzie Bryant and Jasmine Johnson.
So this will be my last banquet. I'm not returning to coaching next year, but I can think of no 2 better girls to have with me for my final banquet. When I choose girls for this award, it's never my girls who win all conference, all district, all state. It's my girls who are good teammates, good leaders, and treat others the way that they would want to be treated. Neither of these girls has won any of those types of awards this year, but the way that they treat others and how they act on the court is much more important to me. Mackenzie, she's been a 4-year player for me. This was her first year on varsity as a senior. She was in a serving specialist role for us this year. But she's the first to jump in and help when it's needed. She studied the game, and she's actually a very smart player, even though she wasn't on the court as much as she probably would have liked to have been. She takes care of her teammates. She's shown them how to love others. I'm definitely going to miss her next year, but I know she's going to do great things in life. She plans on going to college and becoming an athletic trainer, and probably will be getting a softball scholarship somewhere. Jasmine is also a 4-year player for me. This is also her first year on varsity. She stepped into the libero role this season and has really improved so much from the beginning of the year, well, since her freshman year to now. I'm not going to share a lot of Jazz's personal story, but I'm in awe of how much of just what you have been through and how far you've come and how you still remain dedicated to volleyball and your teammates. She's so coachable. She's a great teammate. She shows others what it means to be selfless, and your kind heart will be missed around the team next year. She plans to attend MSU Springfield and will get a degree in radiology.
All right, Houston football, and we want to welcome to the podium and add, if there is a team that really turned things around this year, heading in the right direction, it was this team right here. Eric Sloan, the coach, with Casey Merkling and Anthony Carroll.
As Harlan said, last year was pretty rough. We were a 2-7 ball club. This year we went 8-3. And these two guys standing right here are a lot of the reason that we were able to do that. These great individuals are going to be great fathers. They're going to be great husbands. They're going to be great young men, whatever they decide to do. Exactly what you want in the classroom. You don't have to worry. As a coach, sometimes you get a phone call late at night and you're wondering, oh man, what's happened? You never have to worry that these guys are going to be in trouble. They're going to do the right thing. We talked in the spring about what we wanted summer to look like. We decided 6 a.m. workouts, and 6 a.m. would be when we would have camp. And my question to them was, what happens when one of our guys doesn't show up for camp at 6 in the morning? And everybody kind of looked around. Casey just talked for the group, and he said, you know, it's time people either get in a boat or the boat leaves without them. That was the mindset, that was the attitude. And we had 55 kids at camp, and we finished with 55 kids. They just led the right way. They did everything that you asked them to do. Anthony is a running back and a linebacker. And as a freshman, he got forced to change numbers during the season because we had some linemen get hurt, and he was asked to go play a place he'd never played before and put his hand in the dirt. And, you know, he did what was asked of him. He's been a 3-year all-conference, all-district, all-Southwest Missouri player. You know, this year he scored 13 touchdowns for us, scored 9 two-point conversions. We didn't really have a kicking game, so we asked a lot for him from 3 yards out just to get the job done, and he always was willing to do that. He's been number 1 and number 2 the last 2 years as far as tackles. He always found a way to get to the football. And when we needed to have a big play, he too was going to do that for us. Casey Merkling has been a 4-year starter at the center position. Me and his dad had that conversation 4 years ago when it looked like Casey was going to have to play center. I just said, you know, that's a big responsibility for a freshman. Are you comfortable with this? And you know, he was, and Casey was, and we were able to get in the gun. We were able to get up under center. We never had to worry about that. He's just always been a strong kid. He's going to outwork people in the weight room. He's going to be a 3-year academic all-state kid. He's super smart. He's set number 1 right now in the Houston class. He's very smart, so he's able to understand what we're trying to do and then get that message across up front and tell everybody what the blocking assignments are going to be. Again, he was also a 3-year all-conference kid, 3-year all-district kid, a 3-year Southwest Missouri kid. He was just named 3rd team all-state Friday. So both of these young men right here have just been great teammates for the last 4 years, and they're going to be tough to replace.
Next, we're going back to Arkansas. Highland Lady Rebels. JoBeth Webb, the coach. Ava Pendarvis and Alana Sampson.
Thankfully, I think this is my 5th year in a row. I've been coaching a long time at a lot of different levels. I heard someone say earlier on how old their football program was. Highland is like the opposite of that. We're still like kindergarten level. I think it's our 9th year that have volleyball at this school. And this group of girls is our first winning season ever in the history of Highland Rebel volleyball. So we're very proud of them for that. If you know much about Arkansas volleyball, we're in the toughest conference, arguably. It's always been Valley U show. They got bumped up to 5A, and then now it's Brooklyn's turn. So the rest of us kind of fight for second, and we're doing our best to claw our way up. Alana is a junior. I'll speak about her first. She's our libero. We were all holding our breath to see if you would say her name correctly, and you did. You nailed it. The best so far has been Ali Panda. That's our favorite. She's steady. I didn't come up here to read you their stats, but she's one of the most calm, quiet, steady forces on the court I've ever coached. She just does her job. She doesn't ask for much. She doesn't need much. She just goes back there and digs and cheers her teammates on, but she's just steady. That's what I'll say about her. I can count on her to be there for every game, and she's come a long way since her first 7th grade game. She literally had a panic attack and couldn't go on the floor. She couldn't. So anyway, that's Alana. She doesn't know this yet, but she was named as our only all-conference representative. Yes. I was excited to bring was Ava Pendarvis, and she was our own senior. And that might sound odd, but I feel like, well, I better mention it, my best assistant ever, my husband Brian, we're trying very hard to change the culture at Highland. We want to elevate and kind of bend the herd, I'll say. So Ava being the lone senior, when I tell you she is the cream of the crop, she is battling for valedictorian. She's the lead in the play. She runs cross country, and she's never run cross country before and got offered a scholarship. She's the best. She's our 3rd baseman and our best hitter on our softball team. She's student council president. She was homecoming queen. This kid does it all. Like she's just one of my all-time favorites, and I love her, and I'll miss her. And she's got full ride offers for academics at 3 or 4 different places. So I'm just lucky to coach. I've been at LU and I've been coached at the college level, and I've won a lot of championships. Sometimes it's not about the rings and the wins. Sometimes it's about the kids. So I just love them.
All right, Highland football not attending tonight. We have another. I just want to make double sure, just in case. From Ava on the football side is our Grady Goss or Keegan Evans here. Just wanted to make sure about that before we go forward. Okay, that's fine. Ava volleyball, Coach Bailey Loge. Her players are Taylor Fleetwood and Hannah Kissinger.
The honor of coaching our 2 seniors, Taylor and Hannah, here for the past 2 years. And it just always amazes me the way that they're able to balance sports and school and life and work. It's really something that you don't see very often, and these are just 2 hardworking, amazing young ladies. First, I'll start off with Taylor. She was an offensive player for us this year. I've never had a player go through as much difficulties and battle through adversity as much as she has. It was always just one thing after the other, really for the past 2 years, whether it was an injury or quarantine. It was just something always after her, and she didn't let that stop her. It was just she just walked through all that adversity with a smile on her face and always showed up still. She's a perfectionist. She's a team leader. She earned her role on the floor, whatever that may have looked like. I will really miss Taylor. I'm super excited to see what she does after she graduates in her future. Miss Hannah here was the definition of a leader. She was offering the younger girls rides. She was showing up to practice first. She was offering to put up the net. She offered to help carry my bags. It didn't matter how old she was. It was, I'm part of this team and I'm going to show kids and my younger players and my teammates what it's like to be a servant leader, and she did just that. She's a yes ma'am type of girl. She undeniably makes things less awkward around me, like just knows exactly what to say. It's really impressive. I wish I could have as much social skills as she does. But outside of that, she knows the game. And the very first practice, when I first met her, actually my first year coaching, I'm like, man, this girl's a hard worker. She would be on the bench with me, and she would know exactly what another teammate would do. And instead of complaining, knowing that she could have been out there doing that, she would be cheering that person on. And that was just the most proud moment I've had as a coach, is watching her be so selfless. And just be in the position that she was in this year was just phenomenal to watch, and just a selfless leader all the way around. She knows the game, and most of the time she would make a mistake. She didn't have to ask. She knew what she needed to do from that point forward to improve, and she was always looking to improve. So it's been an honor to coach these two girls, and I'm super excited that I had a chance to back home tonight. Thank you.
Kabul Volleyball, and coached by Erica Spittler. For players, Remy Saponic and Michaela Watson.
It's Remy Sapancic. Good try, though. Good try. Remy, I had the pleasure of coaching Remy when she was a sophomore. She was a setter. She was a go-getter. She worked really hard and knew that big things were up for her. Coming back to Kabul this year, I had the pleasure of coaching Remy, and Remy didn't quite have the season that she was hoping for. I was ready to see her go get the ball. I was ready to see her block. She had a tremendous swing her sophomore year, but I had to have her as a setter. Her senior year, she played really good defense on the left side and swung at the 8, and then she went down. She was passing. She had a MCL injury, which she's kind of still babying a little bit because she just re-injured it. Unfortunately, she didn't have the season that she wanted to have. Remy is one of those players that even when she was hurt, she was there. She was encouraging. She was trying to get on the bus the day after it happened, 2 days after it happened. Her mom actually brought her to the game. She did a lot of big things for us off the court whenever she wasn't able to play. She was an encourager. She gave advice. She helped the girls. She was just a really good peer assistance to help some of our younger girls, because we had 3 freshmen on the court. And with Remy there helping and supporting, she did a really good job. Like I said, she didn't have the season that she wanted, but she did come back during districts and did some big things for us. So I'm glad she got to play those last 2 games. But she was an all-around great player. Again, she's one of those players you want to have. She excels in the classroom. She's doing theater and band and volleyball. I mean, she had a lot on her plate this year. One of the top ones at her class, and she did a great job for us. Even though she wasn't able to be on the court, she was still there for her team, and it was greatly appreciated.
Bulldog football. Kabul Bulldog coach Tyler Spittler, recognizing Evan Counts and Brady Byerly.
I've got Brady right here to my left, and then Evan well. Both these guys are seniors for me. This is my 4th year as head coach at Kabul, and Evan has been with me since day one, so that's been a pretty neat journey since taking over the program. And Brady wasn't there as a freshman, but moved back as a sophomore and fit right in, and it was like he'd been there the whole time. Both of these guys are great leaders. They lead in different ways. Brady is a more vocal leader. If you know Brady, you know that he likes to talk, but he doesn't know a stranger, and he's a great guy and brings a lot to the party. He was our energy guy. Evan is more of the lead by example, quiet leader. He's not going to say a whole lot, but he's going to go out and give you everything he's got. And super thankful to coach both of these guys. They're both all district, all conference, all area players this year for us. They both really turned it on late in the season. Both of them had some really big plays in some district games that led to us going to our first district championship in, I don't know, a long time, like 2014. And these guys are a big reason why we got that far. So I'm super proud of them, super excited to see where they go. Just thankful I got to coach them.
Okay, that takes care of the team stuff. We have some individual things that we always end the banquet with, and so that's what we'd like to do right now. We have a volleyball and football player of the year. We also have a volleyball football coach of the year. We'll take care of the players first. We have had so many good volleyball players that have been recognized at this banquet. Same thing for football as well. Man alive, it's amazing. The talent that we've had come through here and be recognized in the 8 years that we've done this. And with any sport, if you win 20 games, that's a great year. If you win more than 20 games, well, you're talking about something pretty rare. If you win 29 games, well, a lot of people can't even identify with that. But in order to do that, you have to have a really good group, and you have to have an outstanding player in the middle of all of it. This young lady was first team All-State in Class 3 volleyball. Her team went to the first round of the Class 3 state tournament. And just an amazing year for the Mountain Grove Panthers. Reagan Horney.
I like to, it's the best of the best. At the end of the year, it's all these young athletes, they're the best of the best. And this year in football, this young man was a video game. He couldn't be stopped. He scored on offense, he scored on defense, he scored on special teams, he scored on pick sixes, he created fumbles, he was just everywhere. All state, all conference, all district, SCA Player of the Year, Drew Ripko. And now for the Coach of the Year, and being in broadcasting as long as Harlan and I have, these coaches, you're away from your families a lot. I mean, it's long hours. Things get put on the back burner, and it's just a tough job. Trying to keep everyone happy and win. Well, this year, our recipient for Coach of the Year in volleyball did a fantastic job. And, we were actually thinking about calling this the Sherry Toon Trophy because she's won it every year, but not this year. This year's recipient for Volleyball Coach of the Year is Mountain Grove's Ashley Martin.
One more and we're done, and when we're done, of course, everybody jumps up and runs out. Let me say this again, thanks to Ozark Cafe for feeding us tonight. Thanks to the Civic Center for giving us a great place to have this. Thanks to Crystal Cook for all of her hard work in putting this thing together. Thanks to, of course, to all our sponsors again, Taylor Grubauer, Chevrolet, Buick GMC, State Farm agent Justin Shelby, and Peterbilt TLG, who is a bronze sponsor for this event. Okay, last thing for the night. Sometimes you'll hear someone say, we haven't done so-and-so, we haven't won this many games since 1992. People say, wow, that's a long time ago. How about this? How about doing something that hasn't been done since man landed on the moon? That's a long time. I mean, even I was a kid back then, watching it happen. This year, I watched something else happen. I watched a football program that wasn't expected to do as much as they had in recent years. And what I saw surpassed not only what was expected, but what had been achieved by some pretty good teams in the previous 2 years. For some people, they were surprised. I was not. I've known this guy since he was a kid, and anything that he achieves does not surprise me, because he is simply one of the best football coaches in the state of Missouri, and he's here in West Plains. His name is Joel Wyatt. And that's how we do it. If you're here for the first time, we appreciate you. Again, remember, if you want to see this or tell relatives or friends, it's going to be on OzarkRadioNews.com. You'll see the video, photos, and everything else. Thank you for coming.